So the last thing we're going to do with respect to flowables is we're going to take a look at another operator that's a factor method. This is the generate factor method. And generate is going to be a synchronous, stateless, and back pressure aware generator of values. And it's interesting that flowables generate is quite different from observables generate. And we'll talk about that in a second. The parameter is called when a downstream, the parameter being the generator, which is a consumer to an emitter, is called when a downstream subscriber requests a value. And what the emitter does is it either calls on next, on error, or on complete to either signal that there's a value to be processed or there's some type of terminal event like an error or a complete. These calls must be made synchronously, never concurrently, and only while the method body, that's this thing here, is executing. It returns a new flowable instance, which is also cold, which means every time a new subscriber comes along, it will start from the beginning. Each flowable has its own set of items emitted to it. So you're not sharing anything. It's as if you had distinct publishers for each subscriber. By the way, I tried to generate this with ChatGPT, but it doesn't like to generate copyrighted images. And so it kept generating really goofy things that look sort of like Ferengi from Star Trek Next Generation. Didn't look at all like Gollum. So I had to go with this meme generator that generates Gollum, and I put it's mine, all mine, my precious, which is, of course, what Gollum says all the time. So let's take a look at an example. The parameter here is going to emit a given number of events when the subscriber requests it to. And so this is going to leverage the subscription request feature that's built into back pressure aware subscribers. So if we have a back pressure aware subscriber, we can request a certain number of items to be emitted. And so what you can see here is we can keep track of this, and the subscriber can request the next tranche or the next chunk of events. Let's say there are 3 of them. And then the publisher's consumer emitter is called back that many times to do its thing. And what we're doing here is we're basically keeping track of how many times it's been called so that we can do on complete when we're done. If we're not done, we emit a value. Otherwise, we do on complete. Project Reactor has a create operator that works very similar to generate. So this is a little different, a little confusing. This operator supports both back pressure aware publishers and back pressure strategies. So it's a bit more general than what you get with the flowable generate method. So flux generator is like observable generate and lacks back pressure support. We're getting into esoterica here that doesn't really matter for this particular stuff. I'm just letting you know that these things have differences. They're subtle. You have to read the documentation and other online resources carefully. Java Streams has a generate method that doesn't support back pressure because everything is pull-based again, not push-based. Okay, so that's the last factor method operator we're going to talk about in the Flowable class. We don't really have time to walk through the example right now. On Monday, we'll finish off this stuff, and then we will do a couple more things to wrap up the main part of the class.